Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We are just 2 days away from the start of the 2022 NFL Draft. It's exciting. It's also a little intimidating. But hey, if you're going to choose to be a fan of a sports team, then to a certain extent you have to live with the results, right? Like, you have to live with them through the good and the bad. This is what we sign up for, right? We know that our team could make the wrong decisions. We know that they could do things that we don't like, but we stick it out regardless. Now, we don't have to be happy about it all the time, but we do accept the possibility of things not going right. We accept the possibility that they could do things that we like and then it ends up not working out. We accept the possibility of just about anything happening. They could do things we love and then they don't work out. They could do things we hate and then they do work out. But I put a lot of work into studying this draft and trying to figure out what the Seahawks could and should do. So, the last several months, well, I'm going to say 2 months of work, have kind of all led up to the video yesterday, the tier list, and the videos of the next couple days. So, today we're going to present the happy path. These are 3 Seahawks mock drafts that would make me really happy coming out of the box. We're not going to know if these picks are actually good until we're a few years down the line, right? But coming out of the draft, if we were able to come up with some sort of scenario akin to what I'm going to lay out in this video, then I would be really excited about the future, and I would think maybe we can do this. Maybe we can rebuild in this post-Russell Wilson, Pete Carroll, John Schneider era. It would at least give me some optimism. Again, that doesn't guarantee success, but for me personally, it would certainly be a start. So I've got 3 mock drafts I want to run through today for the Seahawks. These are 3 that I like. Probably the most of any mock draft that you could make for this team. These are probably my 3 favorite. Now, understand something. These are not the only 3 mock drafts that I like. There are probably a few dozen mock drafts you could come up with that I would be pretty happy with. Some of them I would be really happy with. And we're trying to stay within the realm of realistic possibility here. Like, I would love for the Seahawks to use the number 9 overall pick on Thibodeau, Sauce Gardner, Ikema Kwanwu, Aiden Hutchinson, but I don't think they're going to be there. So these mock drafts do not include scenarios like that. So keep in mind that if one of those guys were to slip to our pick at number 9, then absolutely, I'm all over that. But staying within the world of what I view as being possible, here are 3 mock drafts that I'm really into. Okay, this first one starts with a trade down, of course, right? The Seahawks, they do that, right? They like to trade down. But this is not even a meme. I think trading down in this draft would actually be good. I like the idea of a trade down, especially if you could get a trade down like this. So here's what I've got. The Seahawks trade their number 9 overall pick and their second round pick. So like 10 picks deep in the second round. And they get 2 mid-first rounders, Philadelphia's 15th and 18th. Now, as you can see, the Seahawks are getting the better end of this deal by a relatively small number of points, but noticeable. 110 on the Jimmy Johnson, about 70 on the Rich Hill. So, in order for this to happen, the Eagles need to desire the pick. They need to see something at number 9 that they really want and are willing to pay a premium for. So, there are rumors that the Eagles want Drake London. There are rumors that the Eagles are trying to trade up ahead of the Jets' number 10 pick in order to get Drake London. If that is true, and the Eagles really like Drake London, or maybe it's Jamison Williams, whichever receiver, apparently they want one of the top receivers, you can go to them and say, hey, we will enable you to trade up and get that receiver that you want, but you're going to have to pay a little extra for that. You're going to have to give us both your first rounders, and we'll give you one of our second rounders on top of it. So if the Eagles aren't that interested, then you've got to sweeten the pot a little bit. You've got some players you can maybe part with, like a guy like an Alton Robinson. You could throw in a day 3 pick, but if you could make the trade work just like this, and again, it's going to require the Eagles to want to trade up pretty badly, but we see trades like this all the time when a team targets a particular player. So you make that trade, and then you come away in that first round with Tyler Linderbaum, the center from Iowa, and with a few picks later, you get linebacker Devin Lloyd from Utah. So I don't think I need to sell you on these guys. They're not going to bust. Barring catastrophic injury, they are not busting. At minimum, with Tyler Linderbaum, you are getting a top 10 center for the duration of his rookie deal. But best case scenario, you're getting a, I think, top 3 center for the next 15 years because he's young. He's only 22, and centers can play for a long time in the NFL. Devin Lloyd, same thing. Minimum top 10 linebacker for the rest of his rookie deal, but best case scenario, top 2 linebacker for 8 years. So you're laying the foundation, and that allows you to take a boom or bust guy in the second round like Boy Mafe. Boy Mafe is a guy who absolutely could fail in the NFL. He didn't do that much in college. He is pure potential, pure upside, not a very high floor. But you have laid a foundation up here. Now you can take a home run swing with a guy like Boy Mafe in the upper to middle second round area. And he would be a pass rusher that you could put across from Darrell Taylor and probably feel really good about. So that's my second round. Obviously, the other second round pick went to Philadelphia in the trade, but we are starting out really strong here. We are rebuilding that defense with 2 linebackers, and we are absolutely giving Hurt and Desai a lot to work with when they get here. In the third round, our last pick of day 2, I have Nicholas Petit-Frere, offensive tackle from Ohio State. He is one of the guys in this draft who I really like because his skill set projects to being that of a left tackle. And because he is relatively pedigreed, I do think he projects to be a starter at some point. I don't know if it's going to be day 1, late year 1, or year 2, but I do believe he will progress to be a starter. He, to me, is clearly a better prospect than Stone Forsythe, so he would be probably fast-tracked to be the starter ahead of Stone Forsythe, and Stone Forsythe would be in competition with him. But Petit-Frere gives you a guy who I think has a very good chance of being a starting quality left tackle in the NFL. Fourth round, and this is where we need to get a little bit lucky, I will admit. But you have set the stage to get him. Carson Strong, quarterback of Nevada. So I expect Carson Strong to go in the third. I'll say that right now. I wouldn't even mind using our third round pick on him to give you an idea of how much I do like him. But his knee's messed up. We don't know what's going on there. There's a lot of people out there who really don't like him because he's a relatively statuesque pocket passer. A lot of people who don't trust the knee. A lot of people don't think his career is going to last that long, even if he can play. A lot of people who think he can't do anything except just stand in the pocket and throw. Maybe Carson Strong slips all the way to the fourth round because of those concerns. Players in this range slip like this all the time. And if it happens and you could get Strong in the fourth round, then you have built an offensive line that should be able to protect him well with Linderbaum and Petit-Frere, which Strong is absolutely going to need to succeed in the NFL. So you get him, you've got an offense ready to go. Okay, now we're moving on to the fifth round here. I have us taking another edge with our first fifth round pick. It's Michael Clemens. This is a guy who Rob Stanton kind of turned a lot of people onto in recent times. He's obviously, we already drafted an edge with Mafe, but it's a position you can never, ever take too many of. A lot of people like this guy. A lot of people, they weren't really looking at him until a couple weeks ago, but a lot of Seahawks fans have really been turned on to him in recent days. And the other fifth round pick is another defensive player, Cam Taylor-Britt. You're giving Carroll and Desai and Hurd a toolsy, Carroll-y cornerback from Nebraska to work with. And I think this is going to be something that gets all those guys fairly excited. They had Cam Taylor-Britt in for a top 30 visit. There's clearly some interest there. Sixth round, we have nothing. And then seventh round, I have Matt Henningsen, one of my favorite super sleepers at defensive end. I think he's a good fit for a 3-4. I think he's a good fit for what we're trying to do on this defense. So that's my last pick. Some UDFAs I would target at this point would be Max Borghi, running back from WSU, Derek Young, wide receiver from Lenoir-Rhyne, David Ane, edge from Houston, one of my favorite UDFAs, and Cade York, kicker, LSU. So that is the first mock draft that I really like. And I don't think I need to sell it much more than I already have. You've got 3 late-round defensive prospects who all, in my opinion, have a chance to become at least rotational players for you, especially Clemens and Taylor Britt. I think both those guys, you put them in the right hands, you give them the right situations, they're going to be able to be maybe even borderline starters within a year or two. But despite spending all these resources on defense, like Lloyd, Mafe, you have still actually given your offense a chance with Linderbaum, Petit Frere to protect Carson Strong. Now, you're not doing great at running back. You need Penny to hold up. But honestly, I think this might be the draft that gives the Seahawks the best chance to be good in 2022. If you want to skip the rebuild and just say, let's actually try to win in 2022, this is kind of what I'm digging. You're really loading up on defense, but you're not neglecting the offense at this point. You're stocking up on the offensive line. You're getting yourself a quarterback who actually has real potential, not like Drew Lock potential where, snowball's chance, right? Real possibilities here. So you're going to need Strong to slip into the 4th, which I don't know if it's going to happen or not. He may go 3rd very easily. But I think all this other stuff is actually pretty reasonable and realistic. And again, if you have to throw Alton Robinson into the Philly trade, absolutely. You're going to be taking edges anyway. You're going to get an edge that I'm actually kind of high on in UDFA. So Alton Robinson can go. I don't even know if he's going to fit what we're trying to do here, really. Okay, that was mock draft 1. Let's go to mock draft 2. This is the second scenario that I've really kind of been turned on to. So this one starts with another trade. And I know you guys are like, I thought we don't want to trade this year, and there are definitely scenarios where I would be okay not trading, but there are some scenarios where I would really be okay trading. So, here's what I got. Seattle trades the number 9 overall pick to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh gives back their 20th overall pick. They give us a 4th round pick, and they give us a 1st round pick next year. I'm sorry, this should be 2023, my bad. So the value of future picks, like a year out, is debated, but with what I have estimated it to be, which is basically a mid-second rounder, you can see that Pittsburgh actually wins the trade on the Jimmy Johnson chart, but it loses the trade on the Rich Hill chart. So it's very even in terms of point values if I have accurately estimated the value of the Pittsburgh first rounder, which, who knows? Pittsburgh might be buckling down for a bad season. They might be thinking to themselves, that pick is going to be top 10. We're not going to trade it unless there's a really, really good offer. We highly value that. But Pittsburgh, they haven't been really bad in a long time. So they might look at that first round pick as being mid at best. So they might be willing to throw it into a trade to trade up to get their guy at quarterback, who apparently Malik Willis. So if my estimation of the 2023 first for Pittsburgh's value is accurate, then this is a very even trade. But it all depends on how Pittsburgh values their future first rounder, because we know, based off what we're hearing, they do value Malik Willis pretty highly. They like him. But regardless, I have us trading down for that future first mainly, and I don't know if Charles Cross has slipped to the point where he could go 20th, but I do know he's slipping. There was a time when I thought Charles Cross was going to go top 10 for sure. Then he started to slip, and I was like, he's going to be top 15. But it's just kept going. And you might have to trade up a little bit to get Charles Cross, but this is kind of a happy path scenario. And with the way Charles Cross is starting to slip, he's actually starting to enter the second tier of tackles in this draft, below Ekwonu and Neal, and alongside like maybe a little above Penning. But I think that it is within the realm of possibility that Cross falls to 20. Maybe you have to give up something to trade up a couple spots so you can get him for sure. But something's going on there. I don't totally agree with it, but it seems like this is all headed towards a place where Cross ends up taken after pick 15 at least. All right, so then I have us doing a defensive double dip in the second round. Arnold Ebiketie, another edge player I really like in this draft. I like Mafe a little bit more, but Ebiketie's nice. So you've got your edge rusher opposite Darrell Taylor addressed, because I like Nwosu, but I don't think he's going to be a long-term starter. And then you're getting Travis Jones to be your long-term solution at nose tackle. Big fan of Travis Jones. He can collapse the pocket as a pass rusher, but he's also supremely good against the run. He's a very exciting and interesting player to me. If you could get these two guys in the second round, you have, without using even a first-round pick, in my opinion, completely reshaped your defense. So definitely excited to bring both these guys home. Okay, third round, we have Abraham Lucas, one of the right tackles in this draft who I really like. I don't feel a desperate need to attack right tackle in this draft, because it would not be the worst thing in the world to see what Curhan can do. But if you have the opportunity to take a guy like Lucas in the third, you got to do it, because I don't know what to make of it, but some people think that Lucas will go in the second round, maybe even the first. I'm not buying it based off what I'm seeing, but if he does go down to where he was originally marked, which is about the third round, you absolutely jump all over that. And you've got yourself a couple of really, really promising tackle prospects with Cross and Lucas. And in the fourth round, I have Zion McCollum, one of the really toolsy, really interesting, but ultimately very high bust potential corners in this draft. Sam Houston State doesn't produce a lot of blue chippers, but McCollum is very, very skilled. And Carroll would love to get his hands on him and try to mold him into the next great Seahawks cornerback. And I have us taking Cameron Jurgens. So you can kind of see the theme of this draft is to hit the offensive line hard. We don't need guards right now, but tackle, center. Those three guys might make up 60% of our starting offensive line, either day one, maybe midway through the year, maybe year two. But you're looking at three guys who could very realistically be starting for us by 2023 at the latest. All right, fifth round, I have Zamir White, another kind of tool for the future quarterback to work with, because as you can see, I didn't take a quarterback in this draft. We're already down to the fifth round. I don't have one yet. You're kind of making life as easy as possible for that quarterback when you get him by taking offensive linemen, by taking a promising running back who fell because of injury reasons, like Zamir White. The other fifth round pick, I have DeMarco Jackson, inside linebacker from Appalachian State. He's certainly not as interesting as Lloyd or the Christian Harris, but I do think he has upside to maybe be a starter in the NFL. And in the sixth round, we have nothing. And in the seventh round, I had Jeffrey Gunter, an edge who I liked from Coastal Carolina, small school guy. Just little something to improve the defensive depth a little bit, maybe. UDFAs are mostly the same, except I swapped out Borgie because we took Zamir White, and I added Cole Kelly. He would be the super sleeper at quarterback that I want to pick up and maybe take a look at over the course of the year. I'm not saying it's likely, but he's at least going to be fun, right? So basically, this draft is all about get the offense ready for the next next quarterback. Don't get him now. Maybe you can throw Cole Kelly out there. Maybe he'll surprise you. Maybe Drew Lock surprises you, but that's not the point. The point is build this offensive line up with three guys who I think have a very good chance to be quality starters at the least in the NFL. But you're not neglecting your defense either. Ebiketie and Travis Jones are surely going to be starters very soon in their careers. McCollum has a chance to be a starter. Maybe he'll follow the Sherman track of becoming a starter midway through year one. All right, so that is mock number 2. Let's go over to mock number 3. This is the final one that that just spoke to me as I was putting it together. So we're not going to trade back this time. This is one of the non-trade back draft routes. Now, you guys know, there are plenty of guys who I would be totally cool taking at number 9. Like I said, I just don't think a lot of them are going to be available at this point. I feel like the Thibodeau dream is dead. I feel like the Sauce Gardner dream is dead. I never had the Aiden Hutchinson dream, but if I did, it would be dead. I'm just not seeing a lot of reason to believe those guys are going to be there at 9. But this guy absolutely could be. And there's a lot of reason to believe the Seahawks have a lot of interest at taking him at number 9. It's Derek Stingley Jr., cornerback from LSU. We've talked a lot about him lately, but the Seahawks seem to be indicating that if they pick at 9, he's priority number 1, maybe 2, but he's definitely somebody they're going to strongly consider. He's going to be, if he lives up to his potential, and I'm not going to act like he's a sure thing like Linderbaum is or Lloyd is, but Stingley has the opportunity to be the next great cornerback in the league, like the next Jalen Ramsey, the next, I don't even think I'm using hyperbole. He could become the best cornerback in the league by year 3 very easily, and he's a man corner. So those guys, harder to find than the zone corners, generally speaking. In my experience, if you're trying to do man and you have a chance to get a Derek Stingley Jr., I'm all over it. So first round, Derek Stingley, no trade back. Now we get to the second round. And with my first second round pick, I'm going to go a little unconventional here, but we got to mix it up here. I'm taking my favorite running back in this draft. It's Breece Hall. I like him more than Kenneth Walker III. Little bit faster, a little bit heavier. I like Breece Hall a lot. I think you are going to be getting somebody who can, really carry the load on offense. If we go into this year with Drew Lock at quarterback, or even if we go into it with like a Carson Strong or a Desmond Ridder or whoever, we're going to run the ball a lot. So let's get a running back who has proven to be durable, proven to be good in zone, and proven to be productive. So I'm taking Breece Hall. It's admittedly not going to get people super excited to take a running back, but we didn't take a running back in the first round. That's kind of my pet peeve. I don't like taking running backs in the first. You get to the second round, now you're talking. Now you can just get 4 or 5 good years out of a guy, and it's fine. Now you can just ride him for his rookie deal, and it's fine. Then I have us making another trade, this one also with Philly, but it could be pretty much any team in that range, and basically we move down 10 spots and pick up a third-round pick. So we miss out on some of the guys in the middle, but there are so many guys in this range of the draft that I really like, it's fine, and we pick up an extra third-rounder. As you can see, the Jimmy Johnson chart has this trade basically even, and I think we're losing that trade slightly on the Jimmy Johnson chart, and the Rich Hill chart says that we are winning the trade by about 12 points, so it's very close to even. If Philly has a desire to move up, then they would probably be willing to do it, even if it's just a tepid desire to move up, because it's a fairly even swap. And then with that second round pick that we traded down a bit for, I have Troy Anderson. I don't want to say he's my favorite player in this draft, but he might be the coolest player in this draft. He's just so fun. And to me, at this point, if you want him, you got to spend that second round pick on him. He'll be gone by the third round unless everyone chickens out at the last second because he went to Montana State. So give me a starting inside linebacker alongside Jordan Brooks, somebody who can cover, somebody who's going to be able to run around even faster than Jordan Brooks does. Yeah, I will get behind that. Okay, third round, we have Daniel Falele. I had to do at least one mock draft where we got him because I love him, but he's going to help rebuild your offensive line. It's not ideal because you would prefer that he was a left tackle because that's what we don't have, but I like him a lot. And then my other third round pick is an edge player, Sam Williams, Ole Miss. I love Sam Williams. I think he's probably better than where he's going to get drafted. Okay, I have us going with another edge in the fourth round because this is a guy the Seahawks have shown they really like. I looked at him a bunch and I was impressed. If you could get him in the fourth round, I feel like that's pretty decent value. I have D'Angelo Malone from Western Kentucky. So we're going 2 edge players in a row, but again, you can never have too many edges. I think that a lot of Seahawks mock drafts have us taking multiple edge players. So Williams and Malone, between those two guys, you should have quality depth at the minimum on that at the edge rusher spot. So best case scenario, at least one of those guys becomes a really good starter too, somebody who gets you double-digit sacks. I think it's possible, especially for Sam Williams. Fifth round, We're going Alec Lindstrom, a project center who I'm kind of optimistic on. A little more optimistic on him than I thought I was going to be after getting a chance to look at him. Boston College guy, has football in the blood. Smart player, high IQ player. Could easily become a starter by year 2 or year 3, which is great value in the 5th round. And then I took a backup safety in the 5th round as well. Dane Belton, safety from Iowa, backup for Jamal Adams. Just an interesting opportunity to continue to address that side of the ball. 6th round, nothing. 7th round, I have Eric Ezukanman, wide receiver from Texas Tech. So he's one of these not terribly productive and low-ranked, but nonetheless very interesting to me wide receivers. And I threw Tyrone Truesdale in as a UDFA in this one just because I didn't really address the nose tackle at all. And I feel like that's something that the team should be thinking about a little bit because we have very temporary solutions there. But yeah, basically this draft is all about really just focusing on the defense first and foremost. Let's get some guys with tremendous upside in there. Let's try to make this defense one of the 5 best units in the league. The offense is going to get a couple of pieces that they're not going to be great immediately. Like Falele, probably not going to be great immediately. Eric Ezukanman may never be anything. But you're setting the stage for a 2023 draft where you can go offense, where you can aggressively attack the offense, and hopefully the defense is already in place. So those are my 3 favorite mocks as of right now. There are plenty of other drafts that I like, but basically you've got one draft, which is, honestly, in my opinion, this draft gives us a chance to make the playoffs in 2022. If you want to try to do that, which I don't really feel the need to, but if you want to do that, I think this is the draft that gives you a really good chance to do it. You have a draft here that is basically trying to give yourself the best possible opportunity to have the most capital in 2023 so you can trade up for Levis or whoever and still do some really nice rebuilding around the offensive line, getting it ready for that quarterback like Will Levis. And then you just have defense, defense, defense. All right, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys think you can do better. Let me know if I did something you're not a fan of. I could sit here and go over more mock drafts that I like all day, but I'm just going to leave it at these 3. Another video later today. We'll be on Twitch later tonight. See you guys later on. Peace out. Go Hawks.